Shut your mouth. have you? Have you ever been told to shut your mouth? Or have you? Have you ever been told to shut your mouth? Or have you? Have you?
Check, check. So, the acoustics here aren't the best. And this was really for me to test it. I wasn't even going to come on, but I want to touch on something quickly and test it at the same time. So this is going live to both YouTube and Twitter at the same time right now, or X. So let me touch on this for a moment. Right now, as I speak, it is 17 minutes past 3 in Serbia. And what I'm doing out here, in a nutshell, is staying out the UK. Staying out the UK for as long as humanly possible, so I can continue to work and cultivate momentum that I have been building online. And not to go into it, if you want to know my thoughts and observations on what's going on in the UK right now, you can actually go to Rumble. If you go to the Wisdom Culture page, everything can be found on wisdomculture.net. If you go to the wisdomculture page on Rumble, you'll see loads of different streams that I've been doing for the last few months. So maybe this would be good to touch on a couple updates. In summary, what I've been doing since the 1st of July is marketing, and I've never focused on that before. What I've always focused on is fulfillment, is actually doing the work. I'm not the greatest at capturing my life. Like to pick this thing up and to like take pictures and do that whilst I'm living is very hard for me. And if you go to Alchemy Culture on Rumble, I wonder if I can live chat here. No, but if you go to, you'll find everything on wisdomculture.net, and that's going across the screen. And you'll see where Nyasha from Alchemy Culture did follow me around with a camera from the UK. We went through Vietnam and documented a 7-part series of something we coined Project Wisdom. That was fun whilst it lasted, but it's unsustainable when we didn't have a foundation set. We weren't really able to sustain a level of cash flow that was needed for me to bring Nyasha on full time, I guess. So that was a while ago. That was last year. What I've been doing this year specifically is finishing my cycle with a particular team that I work with that's given me, and you'll see this, it's given me this is what I've been working on. So we are building hands-free sales departments for business owners that are doing at least they're doing at least, I just got to do this code. There we go. Yeah, they're doing at least 100K per month. And what I've been doing in the meantime has been coaching. And coaching through, if you see my other Rumble channel, through Closing Bible. And Closing Bible was where a year ago, on August 1st, I started to specifically, I had experience in sales, but not sales specifically, and particularly sales in other people's companies. And I came into the space thinking there was going to be a lot of things to learn, and I learned a hell of a lot, but there's going to be a lot of difference between what people were doing to earn 100K a month compared to the business owners that I was working with through consultancy that were doing maybe, don't know about Nick, maybe Nick was doing like, maybe at times 15K, maybe. And this was brick and mortar businesses back in the UK. So a couple of years ago, I decided to go exclusively online. And what that really trigger point was, because I couldn't stay in the UK anymore, and I knew what was happening, and I knew I needed to make money online, and I decided to focus on sales. So this is a little bit of a story, I guess. I went into Closing Bible, and shout out to Closing Bible. Closing Bible enabled me to get a peek behind the curtain about what was actually happening in these sales dynamics for people to be earning this 10K a month, 15K a month, 20K a month with these companies that are doing 100K a month, up to $1 million a month. Actually get an insight to what they're about. And quite quickly I realized that these companies needed me way more than I needed them. And my experience, ever since I left school, I'm 31 now, of building businesses, projects, understanding systems and operations, working with people through counseling and therapy, and everything that I've done eclectically gave me a lot of experience and a lot of skills, but I never really focused on money. I just got all of these skills. And now I see the online space for what it is. The biggest realization that I've had over this year, August 1st was when I joined Closing Bible, let's say just over a year, the biggest realization I had was that this online business space is still very much in its infancy. And I would say that truly kicked off and started in 2020. Of course, people have been doing business online for ages. But 2020, like, really smacked this flag in the sand and said, brick and mortar, the way that we knew it, business in that 9 to 5 world, the way that we knew it, no longer exists. Hence all the bullshit that happened over those years, right? Again, you want to know more about what I think about what wisdom culture is, go to wisdom culture. You'll see that. You see all the pages to my streams and everything I talk about. But I came in dialed. Sometimes when I'm doing these mock call tests with people, these sales reps, since I'm now coaching and closing rival, is I say that I came into this specific level of sales only, tunnel vision to work in someone else's company so I could build my own cash flow. And it's so hard for me to ignore what I notice and what I'm aware of when I go, look, if you're not aware, some people say ignorance is bliss. I don't necessarily know about that, but I do understand if you're not aware of something, it's not as much of a problem to you. Even if you are experiencing it, not conscious of it. When you're conscious of all these problems in businesses, like I'm seeing 1 million on all that bullshit side, I realized there was a massive gap. And this is why I came into this space. There was a massive gap between money and good business. Massive, massive gap. Those two don't go hand in hand. And I said this on my stream yesterday. You can find scams that make a lot of money, and they make a lot of money fast. But it doesn't necessarily indicate that they're good in business. Because they're scams. They're not there to actually serve or sustain or build and grow. They're there to quickly make money, and then you don't see them again. And then they'll come up with a new scam. There's a large percentage of the market that aren't scamming people, for the record. But there is a distinction between a scam and then a sham. And most people, candidly, are running shams. They're not experienced enough in the business side of things to understand why they're experiencing the problems. But what most of them are good at is marketing. And that's something that I've never really been good at. I've never really focused on it. I couldn't exactly pin it down why now. But on July the 1st this year, I was like, fuck this. I'm going to start to focus completely on wisdom culture. A little bit about wisdom culture is we're genuinely a culture. And a culture is very broad. It's hard to pin down. It's diverse. We have a culture, the way that we do everything. Not just business. Life. Relationship with ourselves. Self-awareness. Community. How we approach things. There's intellectual property within wisdom culture, which is actually what I'm offering to these businesses now with, again, these hands-off sales departments. There's actual systems that I've been teaching. If you're interested in seeing me do this live, there's hours and hours and hours of, and I can actually do this by putting it in the chat. I just have to open up another browser. To see me do this live, bear with me. I'm going to put two links in the chat. The first one, this is wisdom culture business. That's where I'm streaming this. This is wisdom culture network. I've had one stream yesterday starting to officially market what I'm doing with the hands-free sales departments. And before that, in this link here in the chat, if you're watching this on Rumble, you can see it on Rumble. If you're watching this on YouTube, there it is on YouTube. And if you're watching this on Twitter, there it is on Twitter. So that's everywhere now. And that link there is where you can find where I'll be streaming specifically for what I'm offering in the business world. what I'm offering in this online space. And Closing Bible for me has been amazing. And I'm still working with it, still coaching with it. But I'm not mentally primarily focused on them as much as I am what I'm doing with wisdom culture now. And here's the biggest problems I've seen in this space. There's a lot of people that are, fair enough, they're making money. They're making money. Difference between cash and revenue. Those are things I talk about in my stream. Even just check out that first stream, you get a massive insight to what I'm talking about. But they keep having the same internal problems. And the way that I summarize business is relationships. And I actually have intellectual property, systems, methods, teachings that are repeatable, that I share with students in the Closing Bible by default of me coaching. But I share them exclusively and work with people one-to-one when I work with businesses. And if you look at what I did with holistic health educators, and you want to know that, look at wisdomculture.biz. And wisdomculture.biz is really officially going to be launched at the end of this week. You can check that out now, and you'll see exclusively what I did with the holistic health educators offer that's online. And we managed to increase their cash collected by 309% in a comparable 6-month period. So the year before when I wasn't there, and they had, for the record, way more leads, way more money going into ad spend. The next year, in a 6-month period, in the same 6 months, there was a 309% increase in cash with way less leads. This isn't random. This is methodical. There's an actual reason why. Not to mention what we were able to do was solve all of these problems that was happening by, first of all, having no systems or procedures. Before coming into this online space, I was a systemized specialist. I would specialize in running people's systems. Even before working with businesses, I worked with coaching clients that would systemize their life, systemize their mind. I'm an incredibly since I was a kid, I used to move my room around as a 3-year-old, 4-year-old. I used to move my room around and systemize it. This is some natural gift that I've always had. And when you can't systemize things, you can't scale things. And when you don't understand the foundations of business in relationships, which I coin the RACT, which is roles, accountability, communication, trust, you don't understand what's causing the internal problems that's stopping you from scaling. People don't know their roles, people aren't accountable, very poor communication often, and people don't trust each other. And you can apply that universally anywhere in your romantic relationship. Anytime that you're dealing with people, the RACT method, the principle, will always apply. And that's what I'm teaching. And I'm teaching this to business owners, sure, but this is what I specifically am going to be doing moving forward. The problem is, I'm coaching people that want to get into sales. I'm coaching them right now. And some of them are really good. Some of them aren't as naturally good in communication, and that's okay, and they get way better. But there's some people that are really, really good because they have self-awareness and they have all the characteristics. When I coach them, typically what the model is right now that most people are doing is these sales reps get placed into organizations. And I'm kind of like handing over these people that I've built connections with and relationships with and taught them methods and systems, taught them how to close deals with zero pressure, help them understand themselves, help them understand psychology. I've taken people from 0 to hero. Honestly, I mean, if you look at wisdomculture.net and you just look at my print screens, and the unbelievable, it's overwhelming. I actually can't keep up with it. I have to outsource it to my team to do it. The amount of positive feedback that I get in screenshots, and I'm capturing 30% of it. Screenshots are really easy for me to grab. When people speak things at me in a meeting, it's harder for me to grab and chop up. But 30% of it, I've still got over 200, 300 screenshots within the last 6 months alone of people's amazing feedback. But here's the problem. They go into these organizations and they go into these businesses, and then what happens is the business owner typically is managing the sales rep. First of all, that's a fundamental flaw. Again, watch my stream yesterday on that link in the chat, and I talk about this. The business owners, there's a law of concentration. If you focus on anything else other than one thing, you are diluting your concentration. So you're not as focused. Why are business owners managing sales reps when typically, not all the time, but typically, they don't understand sales? They're not the specialist in sales, and they should be focused on what they're doing as a business owner. Some of these teams have sales managers, great. Most of them don't. The business owners take these talented reps that we at Closing Bible have been coaching and I've been working with. I'm fucking them over. I've seen footage. I'm not going to name any names. I've seen footage of literally people that go into teams, and you need a period of learning what you're selling. You have to learn it, and that's what you teach your rep. What your offer is. That's what you teach them. You don't teach them sales. That's what we do. So stop talking about fucking sales. You talk about your offer and what specifically it is they do so they can sell it better. I've seen business owners be in the call with the sales rep, interrupt, and deal with the prospect when the sales rep's supposed to be doing it. This is where micromanagement comes in. This is where the micromanagement bullshit. And if you've ever been micromanaged, it's a form of psychological torture. You don't feel like you can do anything. Governments do this. They micromanage everything. You can't go fucking anywhere without there being a camera, a fine, a fee, a speed limit. They micromanage society. It's bullshit. When you get a business owner that micromanages a sales professional that's not allowed to go through a growth period, not to mention most of these younger guys are fucking unprofessional. You need periods and cycles of notice and strong contracts and agreements. Most of the sales reps are free contractors. So sure, it's great, you've got freedom, but at the same time, someone can get rid of you overnight and not even let you know. You just find out that you've been logged out of things. Absolute low standard. Wisdom culture is traditional principles in business and relationships that most people never fucking understand because no one's really talking about this. It's not good enough just to have a handshake. Not because there's no trust. It's because people's memories are very vague. You quite literally the saying, are we on the same page? Comes from agreements and contracts. And you need to set this up before you even start work. You need to also make sure that your team is, if I'm placing a sales rep in a business, which I don't do, I just coach them right now, because I realize that's the worst thing you can do. You send them to these teams, and then what's happening is the business owners are having to, like I mentioned, manage them. But what's also happening is the sales reps aren't able to truly use most of their skills, and they're following shitty scripts. Anyone in this day and age, when you open up text, and it's very long, and it's very wordy, and there's loads of words on the screen, no one reads that. They see it as pictures. That's what happens. They see it as pictures. So when you see, and I've done over 400 call reviews in the last 6 months. When you see a sales professional constantly glancing over there, and or even like this, and they're looking at their script as they're talking to someone, it's fucking embarrassing. You know, imagine going to a dentist, and your dentist is reading a manual, how you do your teeth. That's the insanity that's going on. That only happens when a business owner is naive. There's some people that are really good at what they do. They're very specialist in what they do. But the other areas, they're not good at. I'll be the first one to say, I'm not a marketer. I've got a lot to learn in this marketing world. Yeah. When you talk about human connection, communication, and sales, send me someone that understands this better than me. Because before I got into sales, I was naturally a therapist, a counselor. I was coaching people in many different ways, but what people would come to me with is all of their problems, and I would be a solutionist to their problems. I made a living from this. I did But many people call it many different things, life coaching, and I never really like to label it. That's why I'm not a great marketer. I never really like to label it. I just built relationships with people, never marketed, and always kept earning referrals. And people just knew in my local area back in the UK, Charlie was the guy that you wanted. Even on the surface, if I was a bit taboo, which I was, people would come to me. I dealt with an individual that had broken the record for the highest amount of attempted suicides in our local area in the UK. And no one knew what to do with this guy. He was on the edge of life. This guy now, just by having communication with me, some of this is even recorded in my old podcast on that. This guy now love this guy, fucking love this guy, lives in Denmark. He was taking unbelievable levels of medication that they, of course, medicated him with. He had psychosis, and no one knew what to do with him. Now he takes maybe, I need to find out what he's on right now, but maybe he takes one tablet. He's living in Denmark. He has a child. He's in a happy relationship with his mother. And he trains Thai boxing. He's a solid motherfucker. I wouldn't want to get hit by him, put it that way. But I naturally had this ability. So when I started to come into sales and focus on this, I knew I had something that most people can't learn, can't teach this. I was naturally gifted in hearing people's problems, reading people. I had a fascination with this growing up. So sales is very easy for me. What I had to learn was structuring the difference between therapy and sales. That was one of the biggest things I learned coming into this space. Therapy is very much, you're getting to the root driver of behavior that takes a different pathway to sales, which is all about problem solving. At the same time, it feels like it's progressing in 45 minutes to a decision that is an investment that solves a problem. It's slightly reformatted it, but there's a lot of the same skill set, human to human connection. So why I'm saying this is because I enabled sales professionals to know what truly happens on these calls, but they're joining teams, and they're joining teams that are, again, boxing them into scripts and micromanaging them. Not to mention the work culture is terrible, and not to mention they weren't able to perform because they were being bottlenecked by the business. Here's where the solution is. First of all, again, the traditional old saying of mind your own business. I'm bringing that back. I might even get that tattooed on me. Mind your own business. First of all, mind your own business. If you're into etymology, it's just going to make more sense to you. But you've got to understand, I'm not there when I work with a company, and this is what I'm doing for you. I'm going to take a company. They need to have marketing and they need to have fulfillment covered. They have to. And I'm going to come in and build a sales department that they don't go near. They have nothing to do with it. I'm going to work with a business owner, as I have been as a consultant for years and working with business owners. The same way it's like building a relationship with Charlie. And I'm going to know how to sell the product in the best way that resonates and aligns with their company culture. But I'm going to run the sales department 100%. And I am going to lead and manage the teams on top of also, I'm one that needs to get stuck in every station. So I'll set appointments, I'll close appointments, I'll set up the sequences, I will set up the automations, I will link and bridge the type forms to the CRMs, whatever it looks like, I'll manage all of that. And I'll scale that company sustainably because I'll build it off strong foundations, and I'll be using wisdom culture principles to do this. And most people don't understand what that means. I can't sit here and tell you what that means because no one can really be told anything. You have to experience it. And if you speak to people like HHE and see what I've actually done, they didn't even realize the impact I had. Truly, until recently, around July, I left. My partner's still with them. We have a great relationship with them. I'm not there. I'm not there because I don't need to be. I've set the foundations, I've set the procedures, I've set the systems, I've removed all the problems and then bring in people who know money, people that have $100, but they go onto a 12K payment plan over 5 years. Fucking dreaming, stupid. We removed all those problems, and you'll see, and I'm going to pull this up so I don't get this wrong. with that company alone, taking the last 17 clients, because this is when I asked my partner who's on that team, Amy, where we're at. It's a 70%, 70% close rate and a 79% PIF rate, pay in full rate. If you don't know, the average in the industry close rate is 30%, and some people aren't even hitting that. So out of the last 17 clients, 13 have paid in full, and the remaining 4 have completed full payment in 3 weeks. And this is with a company that still has difficulty packaging what they offer and marketing it in the right way to the audience. And we're still able to do that. So can you imagine what it would be like for me to come in and first of all build a sales department and integrate it into a business, and then the business owner focuses specifically on their role, RACT again, roles, accountability, communication, trust. They focus on their role by knowing what they don't do, and they don't do anything with sales. They're no longer watching sales calls to try and review and not really knowing what they're looking for. But if you give someone the authority for an opinion, they'll give you an opinion. That's no longer the case. They focus on marketing and fulfillment, and we come in and build sales. And I will systemize this, and I will bring in principles that enable it to scale. And I'll make sure, this is where the most important work is, I'll make sure that me and said business owner are on the same page at all times, and we understand, because this is the biggest skill some people never get, and it's understanding how to positively challenge someone. You need to understand how to, in a kind but challenging, positive way, tell someone that isn't right. And right and wrong is it's like a different argument in itself. I'll actually say that it's not about right or wrong, it's about effective or ineffective. And you need to help someone realize that what they're doing isn't effective. I'm getting that right now with a guy that's helping me package and market more. And I'm like, yeah, I understand what this is. I understand. It's all grey to me. I don't know exactly why. I've had to go through loads of resistance to just in the last couple of weeks start to piece together this stuff. And I'm doing that all the time to people. And if you don't have that ability, communication isn't there. And you can't communicate. And I'm not one to go, hey, look what these people did, or look what these people say. I'm like the last person to say that. I don't give a fuck. Wisdom is from personal own experience that you earn. However, something does stick out for me from what Alex Hormozy said before. And he said, a business, I'm paraphrasing, but a business's growth is directly linked to how quickly you have challenging conversations, something along those lines. And that resonates so true. And of course, he knows what he's talking about. There's a level that some people just don't have that ability to deal with a business owner, and you need to be able to call them on their bullshit. Me included, if we work together, call me on my bullshit. But the proof is going to be in the results. It's going to be in the numbers. It's not going to be an opinion-based thing. It's going to be based in truth. And that's where we meet in the middle and understand what we need to do. But the first thing to do is to get them away from sales, and we manage it. And just to close on the sales department side of things, what I do differently is I'm very, very cautious and I respect people's time a lot. I am not there to say, hey, yeah, let's bring in 7 sales reps that ain't got the lead flow or don't have the opportunity to earn money, but let's fucking waste their time for 6 weeks before they get sick and tired and they go. Churn rate kicks in. Fuck all that bullshit. That's amateur level foolishness. That doesn't happen when you're, first of all, you're patient, you're disciplined, and it's not a fucking secret. Look at nature. There's cycles. It takes 90 days at least for a season to happen. You've got to understand there's microcosms and macrocosms. You've got to understand you need to align with nature, the laws of this universe. People think this might be crazy or esoteric in business. A business is a creation. The laws of creation, if you don't understand them, don't talk to me about your fucking theories. Look at what happens through the nurturing of an environment to a plant. You nurture environment, you feed the soil, and you know how to take care of a plant. If you never take care of plants, good luck, because you'll fucking kill a lot of plants before you learn how to keep them alive and thrive. There's so many factors to it, but what you don't do is try to speed rush the growth. When you plant a seed, you have to keep it in a certain incubator, an environment for it to grow. And business owners and most people just don't have that level of patience. They don't have that ability. And because most people don't, someone will say, we need to speed this up, when we don't need to speed this up. We need to fucking slow this down. So you have a broader time horizon to understand where we want to be in a year. Forget all this quick bullshit. When you keep getting new people to solve the problem that you never solved because you're managing, business owners managing said individual that's supposed to be solving the problem. Bullshit. You don't mix cultures. You mind your own business and you market and you fulfill. And we'll know that because you at least hit around 100k a month. It can be more, it can be slightly, we just got to say, if you can market and you've got something that you can actually deliver on, we'll take care of sales. And you don't have to worry about that. And what we will do is gradually, when it's needed, place reps in. And they won't be following scripts. We can use tools, we can use guides, we can use pillars, we can use principles, technically scripts, yes. But it's not, hey, read this word for word, best of luck. And if you didn't read it word for word, what happened? No, we're going to be regularly training. I'm only going to bring people on board with a team when I know they can sustain a living from them, when there's clear expectations, when there's agreement forms, when there's onboarding procedures, when there's period of notice system, when they are fully disclosed on what to expect. The same way I'll run through a sales call. I will, with that system in place, I will be able to scale that, and you'll get people that sit in that role. Because why would they leave a role? Seriously, why would they fucking leave a role that they're earning money in? It doesn't make sense. So when individuals start to earn money and you start to get cash flow, no one's got any reason to leave. It's very hard to do that. The only time people ever leave a role or move from a position where they're earning money is when spiritually they're unfulfilled. They want something more. They want something different. Or they don't resonate with the company culture anymore. That's the rare case. And for the record, my company culture is so important to me. Like how we establish a company vibe and culture is everything. This is what wisdom culture is about. And you'll learn more the more you spend time with it, and what we do, the systems that we use, and how we live. You're not coming to a team meeting half asleep. Yeah, gone. It's like high level players. We're in the top 10%. There's no one that's not in the top 10% that's on these teams. And it's not actually difficult to get in the top 10% because 90% of the market is shit. They're actually shit at what they do. So when you understand this, it's actually easy to be in the top 10%. So we're building this out. And we're going to manage these reps ourselves. And we're ultimately going to be able to make with the company way more money. The only reason people leave and why they're leaving roles and bouncing around, and this works both ways. Sales reps are this offer, that offer, this offer, that offer, trying to find the offer that really works and earns them money. Sure, experience, yes, you're getting experience, but people aren't in there just for the experience. People need to get paid. They need to live. I can't travel around Eastern Europe. I can't be in Serbia right now without cash. I can't come to a coffee shop and buy fucking affogatos and Americanos. And here, I've got no money in my fucking bank. Stupid. And that's why people are leaving. And then on the other side of that, sales reps are leaving because they aren't earning any money. And guess what business owners have to do? Loop that same cycle. Oh, we need more sales reps. We need fresh faces. And this is one of the biggest pet peeves. One of my biggest pet peeves. I call it, well, I use the word containment. Containment is such an important skill. Don't get fucking excited. Shut the fuck up. Shut up. Seriously. Because when you get someone that comes on board to a team and you lift them up before you've seen them work, and you praise them, and they're lifted, or this person's going to do this person's going to do this. How about shut the fuck up? How about we keep it casual and calm, and sure, welcome to the team. But how about we get through the first 4 to 6 weeks and we see some results and we see some growth and we get some actual time to make a true judgment of where we're at with you. And then you can start to praise you. That peeve of mine, that cycle of people losing sales reps because they haven't got the capability to keep them on board, so they have to get new ones. And it's always that fresh face and smile again, like, welcome to the team, it's great to have you on board. Where were the other guys? Why didn't I get this role in the first place? I'm only able to get a role on a team that's either scaling, great, scaling, they need more reps, or, and most companies aren't scaling, or they're fake scaling, they're attempting to scale without foundations in place, so they're not scaling. Or secondly, other sales reps got tired and left. That's typically what's happening. That's not going to happen with wisdom culture, because I'm only going to bring people on teams where we're able to earn money. And this is where I'm convicted and confident about this, because I'll run a whole department myself. I'll sit there, do everything that's needed to link automations to a CRM, create sequences, set up essentially what I call the pipeline, set all this up, systemize it, work with the business owner, establish a relationship, take the inbound calls and manage most of them. And if I really feel like I need someone, if I do, and it'd be great if I did, because that would indicate that things were actually moving, then I'll gradually, and I've got enough people, I'll gradually bring them on board professionally at a wisdom level, at a wisdom culture level, and I'm never going to run out of them because of my established relationship with Closing Bible. Closing Bible is training reps and giving them the tools and skills to be placed into companies. So I'm able, because I'm coaching those reps, I'm able to take those reps and bring them on board into companies that isn't like, good luck, I don't know too much about that business. It's, hey, did you resonate with the way that I was coaching? Yeah, absolutely, Charlie. Well, do you want to join my team? Yeah, absolutely. Or do you also want to know, because I know all the numbers in and out because I'm running it, do you want to know what the true OTEs are? This is another thing. OTEs, on target earnings. The amount of people that are fooled by that shiny, glittery, oh, I could potentially earn this here. Yeah, on target. On target, yeah. But what's needed to be on target? A lot. That isn't in place. I'll tell you in theory, if I get in the ring with Mayweather, and I just know I keep jabbing him to the body, until I switch that jab into a hook and I perfectly place it on his chin, I'll knock Mayweather out. I know that. In theory, it sounds great. Great game plan. It's bullshit in practical, real life scenarios. So when people have on-target earnings, mostly it's garbage. It's bullshit. If we're on target, I'm going to manage those expectations. And I'm basically going to say, hey, this is what I'm earning. This is what a company is doing in revenue and cash collected. Cash being the only true factor that matters to me. I don't give a fuck about revenue. And I'm not going to even give you an OTE. I'm not going to give you an on-target earning. What I'm going to give you is a guide, a principle, a target to hit for yourself. And if you hit that target, not only am I willing to just pay you out of my own pocket, but I'm collecting the cash. If we're selling for a company, this is one of the things, it has to be sent to the company's bank, and then it has to get sent to mine. So there's that bridge. But I'm collecting the cash, and I can decide from the percentage of what we're earning from the sales team, you have earned. Because I'm not taking any less than 20%. I'm not taking any less than that. There's a 20% rate that we take in the sales for dealing with the whole sales department, which is an absolute steal. It could fluctuate, it could go higher. But for the most part, my battery's going to run out, so I'll start closing this up. But for the most part, what's important is we are actually going to pay our reps. We're actually going to make sure that they get paid. I'm going to make sure that they're paid first. I'm going to make sure that they are able to feed themselves. And I am able to move needles. I have a base rate that I have to put into an agreement, yeah, but I'm able to move that needle up if I think that rep is performing well. Out of the 20% cash that we collect, if I had nothing to do with that sale, I might decide, instead of like typically like a closer rate, which is 10%, I might be able to move that up to like 14, maybe even 15. I need to make sure I sustain myself and the department. But the culture of that incentivizes people to actually work, and they're not misled with, hey, these are the on-target earnings you can make. Hey, here's what the price is. If you collect 100% cash on a 10K deal, we're guaranteed to take 20% of it. All right, so we're taking 2K already. The 2K, let's look and break that down into how much work we did. If you set the appointment, it's another thing. All this setting, next person, sometimes that makes sense. A lot of the time, that individual that's going through a transformative process gets sick and tired of dealing with new people. Sick and tired. If you're the first person to contact an individual and you bring them all the way through to conversion, you deserve way more than the like that's a potential 15%, because on average it's 5% setter rate, 10% closer rate. So you can get 15% now if you take them from start to end and you collect that cash, and the department keeps 5%. This is, and what I want to do with that 5% also is change the culture of payment. This is going to run out in a minute, so I'm going to close on this. But the culture of payment, sometimes people are waiting or not even being paid. They're not even being paid for their work. In a certain time, in a different era, you watch enough films, you have your fucking fingers cut off. You might even get left for dead, buried in the desert for not paying someone. It's not a fucking joke to me. You pay. And this is the culture I want to create. If I can cultivate that 5% build up. When you're using payment processes like Stripe, sometimes they fucking hold money for 4 days. It's annoying. But it's the game, right? Why should that rep have to wait? If I've got the float and the cash there and I can afford to do it, it depends where we're at with the numbers, they're getting paid straight away. They get paid on the day. As long as we know the cash has landed, it's landed into the Stripe. Cool. You don't have to wait 4 days, or you don't even have to wait 2 weeks. 2 weeks maybe on average, paid by twice a month. No, do you know what? John, who's on my team, you collected 10K today, we get 20%. I'm going to give you 15% straight away. There's $1,500 today in your bank. And then obviously the money comes back to me. It comes into my account. This shifts everything that's going online in sales right now. Maybe a few people are doing fractional sales management. They're not doing it at the level that I'm doing it. Because I'm seeing, and I've had many people, because I'm speaking to plenty of sales reps that are going into many different teams. I had a conversation with, maybe I shouldn't mention his name, I had a conversation with someone Sunday maybe, and he was telling me about the one experience he had with fractional sales management, and the sales manager had no experience in sales. So people maybe try to apply these concepts. Morons, fools. I say that respectively. Fools. So this is what's coming. This was meant to be a little test stream. This has gone out to YouTube, Twitter, and Rumble. And if you want to see me talk about business and particularly sales and how we're solving this problem, that in the chat, that bottom link is the page. That's the page. So there's Rumble Studio is sick, by the way. Shout out to Rumble Studio. There's 2 ways that you can do it. Let me retract that. Rumble Studio enables you to just go and stream straight from your browser, which is where this is happening right now, or I can do it from my phone. But you have one Rumble account, and you can have as many channels as you like. And I'm going to be now streaming on my wisdomculture.biz channel, because I'm no longer streaming my coaching that I did with Closing Bible over on wisdomculture.net. So if you want to see all those coaching hours, you can still go to that Rumble channel. That's also in the chat. But if you want to see what I'm doing moving forward, this is going to be outside of Closing Bible. So I'm not obligated to kind of shift the way that I communicate for the respect and for the culture of that company. You're going to see how direct and how fucking serious I am. My number one inspiration, for the record, for business consultancy, and people don't realize he is one, is Gordon Ramsay. If you watch Kitchen Nightmares, you watch that guy go into a business that they've called him to come to say, Gordon, we need saving. We've got problems. And he comes in and he points them out, and business owners are in denial. That is the greatest, to my knowledge, that is the greatest series. Anyone that's in business consultancy should watch that. That is the greatest series ever recorded, ever, of what truly is required to make a change for a business that's literally on its last legs, and with many different problems, maybe even with food, people getting fucking killed, food poisoning, like dire consequences. So if you see what he does and why he has to speak in that way that he does to get food to people, you'll realize you need to be cut from a different cloth to be a good business consultant and get food to people. And not everyone's ready for that. But that wraps up this stream, guys. Again, as I say, I'm in Serbia. I'm here till not much longer now. We've been here almost 90 days. And I'm going to keep traveling through Eastern Europe. I'm staying at the UK, making money online, building this business, building wisdom culture, finding new clients to work with. I won't work with more than one at a time. Still have space to do coaching, a B2C offer, but B2B, no more than one client at a time. Focus, I can scale that company, make money with them until it gets to a point that I can start to delegate and bring in other managers, follow the same principles, procedures, and systems. I can see this lagging. I'm signing out. Appreciate you guys. Give me a follow on all of these platforms if you're not already. And you'll see, particularly on wisdomculture.net, way more about wisdom culture if you're specifically focused on the business. Wisdomculture.biz. But for now, peace out.
Have you ever been told to shut your mouth? Or have you?